Hello, sports fans around the world, and welcome back to the NRL SuperCoach, a BDE podcast. We are the best draft experts here to dive into the week or round 6 waiver action. Lot going on, lads, lot going on. The mighty Bulldogs have earned a bye this week, so here we are to try and help you replace those players who've been in good form and hopefully welcome a few of them back after the bye. Simo, big week in football, mate.
It is, mate. It is. Look, it's just hamstring city out there at the moment. Really, it's just war of nutrition as it is every single year about this point. So, yep, waivers are always important, but probably this week more than ever because you're replacing all the doggies, plus just all the hamstrings and HAAs and whatnot. So, a lot to get through tonight, boys.
Absolutely, and South deserving special mention for pretty much their entire team going down like they've been shot from a guard tower with hammy-related injuries. Unbelievable. How the hell does that happen that quickly? So, Todd Mount, we're going to need your colourful analysis this evening, sir, to really cheer up the poor listeners who are probably doing it tough in Fantasyland, old sub.
That's why you pay me the big bucks, mate. That's why I'm here. I'm, top of logging out in our league, and just doing what I can.
Wow, yeah, make sure you pay you enough to get someone to help you with your laundry. Very good.
Fair.
All right. Thank you to those live listeners who've tuned in. Always a pleasure to have you join us, and we'll do our best to answer the questions as they pop. But good stuff. Now, boy, does the first game of the round have a lot more importance on it than you'd otherwise have expected. The Panthers losing their last 4 games. Pretty incredible stuff that really, unless you are genuinely Nostradamus, you didn't see coming. They bloody need to win this, Simo, and you've got to feel as though it'll come right at some point. But their lack of defense means they're actually pretty decent to have some skin in this game.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Hey, like it should be pretty high scoring, you'd imagine, the way that these teams are sort of shaped up. So, yeah, if they can hold the ball, either of these two teams, there should be points there. So, should be a good game of footy and hopefully pretty good for Supercoach.
Speaking of, mate, I'll stay with you, Simo. A player that he pretty much appears on these waiver lists every year for about the last 5 at least, has actually shown a bit of form in an improved side attackingly. Cody Nikorima, for those who are struggling with, your Matt Burton injury, mate, there's been really a struggle town in the 5/8 role. Have we got to start taking him seriously with one of those little purple patches he goes on?
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's probably more of an indictment on the fact that 5'8" has just been an absolute dumpster fire of a position outside of maybe 2 or 3 decent guys. But if you haven't got sort of Munster, Galvin, Dylan Brown, JC, like you haven't got those 4, I mean, you're really just trying to look for anyone that could do anything. A lot of injuries with Cody Walker going down. Obviously, you said Burton on bye. If you're running Jack Cole for a while there, then he's a HIA and he's out this week. So, yeah, he could be scraping the barrel at the 5'8" spot. And I think Cody Nikorima is a decent enough shout. Obviously, we wouldn't usually like this matchup against Penrith, but like we touched on before, I mean, the defense that they've been showing hasn't really been typical Panthers. So I don't mind him as a sneaky play if you're really desperate at the spot.
Yeah, I think so, mate. I think he's decent enough this week. A player who I think slipped under the radar a little. There was some mention of him as a sleeper going into the year, but Big D Safe, Todd's actually playing some good real life footy for your Dolphins as well, mate. Look, he's going to be in lineups already, but do you think the rest of the season has just settled into at least an FRF2?
Oh, I think it's settled into FRF2. Like, what you're looking for from your 2 is 50 and with a little chance of upside. And I think D-Site's going to give you 50 most weeks. And we've seen just these last 2 weeks, whether it's 65 and nearly 100, that he's got that little bit of upside in him, and he's looking really good, the Dolphins. So, yeah, I don't mind him as a second 2 FRF, sorry.
We've lost a bit of starch in our middle at Newcastle, and I think his loss is being felt a little bit. Obviously, his brother literally ripping his calf as he was running onto the field, not even in the warm-up.
Pretty rough,
I don't know if I've really heard that before. That's insane. But it is worth mentioning, guys, and it is part of more of the analysis rather than waiver pick. But Tom Gilbert on an edge and Maxi Plath in 13. It's finally happened officially from the start of the match. This is monstrous for the Max Plath truthers out there. This is where he needs to be. He vaults way up in the hooker ranking. Am I going crazy here thinking that's got to be somewhere near top 3, considering Grant struggling badly, JMK slow start to the year turning it around? I mean, hooker's been awful, Simo.
Yeah, it has been. It's been pretty dire. And yeah, you sort of touched on it. Like the top end guys, like you even mentioned Coruscant, to start the year hasn't really hit any great heights either. So a lot of people struggling at the hooker spot. Yeah, I think he's got to be a top 3 hooker at this point. Probably was before this, to be honest. Like he still was hitting some tries there, which was good to see from Plath. But yeah, back in the 13, you've got to love this if you're an owner.
Huge. Not so good for Tom Gilbert, although he hasn't exactly hit some dazzling heights anyway. More of a lower upside option. Probably drops his floor a tiny little bit, but probably gives him 80 minutes, I'd say.
Yeah, it looks like that's the case.
Yeah, so probably balances out. Doesn't change a hell of a lot for me. Can you make an argument? Just give us a number here, boys. He's definitely not a number 1 2RF, which he wasn't anyway. Is he a 3rd or a 2nd in your eyes in 10-team leagues, Todd?
He's a 3rd.
Simo?
Yeah, I'd say pretty easily a 3rd. He just doesn't have the upside to warrant top 20.
Yep.
I think going into the season, we were pretty keen on him, looking like he might get pretty decent minutes at lock. But yeah, on the edge, he just doesn't really have. He's not really an attacking-minded player. He's more your meat and potato style. So
workhorse.
He's a 3 for me.
Yep, fair play. All right, over to the Penny Panthers. Huge in with Dylan Edwards returning. Now, may not be the biggest fan in terms of his Supercoach output, but I think what he brings for the side is that go forward and the drive to bring others onto the ball. So I think it's just huge. It's a plus for this entire team. Laurie, maybe not as effective as some of us thought he might be without being terrible. So that class comes back. Obviously, risk of re-injury pretty damn high with Dylan. Unfortunately, it's been historical after he comes back, but hopefully he hangs in there. That gives Blaze Talangi an opportunity with Jack Cole just going down. Now, I know in previous seasons we've maybe got excited and wanted to believe that this is Talangi's role, but even if he plays well, it's probably still Jack Cole. The only thing is, though, 0-4 all of a sudden complicates things. Todza, if you believe Blaze Talangi was there to stay, given his eligibility in a couple of positions, you're breaking the bank here, right?
Oh, yeah. If you think that Blaze Talangi can come out here this week, make his tackles, play well, and the Panthers get up, and Ivan backs him in for next week, and for the season, you spend your number 1, you do everything you can to get him. But like you just said, I think that this is Jack Cole's spot to come back to. It's only a head knock. You would think that with the way that, they're 0-4, they've lost 4 in a row, you would have thought maybe they thought Jack Cole wasn't it, but they've stuck with him. So, and Blaze hasn't played that much 6 in New South Wales Cup either. He's been playing centre. So I think this is just a stopgap, unfortunately, if you were, holding Blaze.
Can I just make sure again that I'm very firmly in there? I don't think Jack Cole is it almost at all. Like, other than playing okay that week, Cleary went down. I don't get it. I don't really see. I think this is a case of just longer term gain with Talangi, but they're getting desperate now. They have got to win this game. If Panthers lose this, it's all well and good saying they'll get it right eventually, but what would it be, 1-5? Like, okay, statistically you're starting to get pretty far removed from the 8 here. So, Simo, just really for me, mate, just tell me, is he a break the bank number 1 overall this week, or are you more cautious?
Oh, it's not you break the bank in terms of like there's not risk there, but to me, for what Talangi could be, I still would do it. I'd still put him in that break. Not so much like we're sure he's going to keep that spot, but if he does, you're going to regret not going harder. So with that just being said, like I'd spend number 1 and just play the upside, hope that things break your way. I think if I was a betting man, I would hope that Blaze comes out and plays well, Panthers win, and then he keeps the spot. I mean, I'm sort of in a bit of agreement with you there, Redford. Like, I would have loved to have seen if Jack Cole would have got dropped after the last game anyway, especially since they lost. So it could have been Blazers' time already. We just don't know.
Maybe.
It appears probably not, but it would have been good to know that. But yeah, for me, I'm spending a pretty high waiver. I would go 1 if I was really desperate, especially at 5'8". I think you just got to do what you can to get him at this point.
I do too. I think it's going to work, boys. I think he's an easy one. I'm not even, to be honest, had a pretty long day at work. Haven't absolutely studied these teams other than a quick glance. But I tell you, I think that could be the league winning pick if it goes well. And at worst, you're going to get a 55 average. I think it's a pretty straightforward one for mine. Scott Sorensen can't get excited with Papali'i on the bench. Just want to quickly mention that I think it's a bit silly that Papali'i didn't get a dual eligibility, considering he's played in the middle more than he's played on an edge so far. They just miss these sometimes. Cal, g'day, Cal. That's how we roll.
Go, Cal.
Welcome along.
I just want to say, just with the way the Panthers are going, man, take Jerome Luai out of that team, and they have absolutely gone to shit. Is he that good of a communicator and that good of a leader in that team for him to be such a big miss?
I don't mind the shout, but I actually think the bigger miss is in the forwards, mate. I think it's all well and good with Lindsay Smith doing his little steps and stuff. James Fisher-Harris was the spiritual leader of that locker room. His defensive prowess is being missed horribly on the pitch. There's a reason he's voted prop of the year so many times, or at least in contention. What he offers defensively has been outstanding, Todd. And I think the Panthers are missing it very, very badly. Razzle says, "G'day, Cal."
G'day, Cal.
G'day, Razzle.
All right. G'day, Razzle. How's it going, fella? All right. Friday. St George Illawarra Dragons versus the Gold Coast Titans. Also an important matchup, given the Dragons losing that game against the Eels. May look back at that one with a bit of pain when they just missed the 8 potentially this year, as there are a lot of crap sides in the comp this year. So Dragons aren't without hope. Playing with Clint Gutherson playing 6, 7, 1, 8. Just name a few. Bench. Dead set on the ball 1,000 times again on the week and really didn't deserve to lose. He played outstanding. The actual side itself, boys, it's really hard. Like, we're almost hoping there's a junior somewhere there who can emerge in the halves to give us an option, which actually probably would be with this structure. But as it stands, boys, I'm not getting pumped about anyone. You can't even start your Lucy's because you got like Dylan Egan on the bench, who's just, he's grinding his way to about a 50. Just to really touch on it, boys, if he got a start and got 80 minutes, we'd be pretty excited, I think. But that ain't going to happen. There's too many players there. Happy to move on, boys.
Yeah, that's fair, mate. That's fair. That's the Dragons, isn't it? When you lose to Parramatta, that's what you cop in the podcast. Get out of here, dogs.
Get out of here, dogs. You're happy to play, everyone. Quick temperature check, Damien Cook. I think we're all going to put our hand up, boys. That has not worked the way we thought it would. Too many back rowers splitting up the minutes. It's been brutal. Yeah. And he's looked okay too. And one Jacob Little just absolutely crushing it off the pine does not help him too either.
Doesn't help that Damien Cook's the second best hooker in the team.
I tell you what, I do feel a little sorry for old Jacob Little. He has clearly found a purple patch in his career, boys, and just not getting the time.
You should have stayed fitter earlier.
Wow.
But he's on fire tonight.
What has got into your
I've been hurt today, boys. I've been hurt.
You have. Good day to you, Raz. That's a very polite version of it from Cal. The Pudgy Pigeon, big fan of the name. G'day, gents. G'day, Pudgy Pigeon. Welcome aboard.
That's a good name, Pudgy Pigeon.
Pudgy Pigeon's good work.
I
do. How good is this, gentlemanly? This is our new phrase. Forget about the sports fans. Good day, sports fans. All right, the Titans. Jalen de Groot, just sending out. I know there was a missing person report filed for Jalen recently. He's been named to start a couple of games, and we just haven't really seen him do anything apart from that when the commentator said he'd scored and it was Brimo 2 weeks ago. Gets his dual eligibility, which means he survives, but geez, is he not involved, Todd Mown?
Yeah, no, that is a massive avoid. He just looked lost out there, to be perfectly honest.
Just doesn't appear to have the game sense yet. Now, obviously, speed to burn to show us that you actually have to run. So we're just waiting on some of that too. Jalen de Groot, you're just holding those, surely, right? Quick one, hold or drop, Simo.
He's a reluctant hold. I think he'll be meaning drop City if he doesn't do much this week.
I think you can
punt
him
Dragons?
as far as possible.
Really?
I reckon he's sub 40 again this week, and it's just not worth it.
Yeah, I think, mate, if he got 40, I think owners would be delighted at this point. I've also noticed, it's been I brought to my own attention that I should be addressing you as Simon. So that's very good from you. I like it, keeping the Capitals going. All right, the rest of the team, unfortunately, David Fafita.
Grammar piece out here, holy.
I just like yelling, mate. Yelling makes me feel good, Todd. You know, you've been friends with me a long time, mate. All right?
BDE! Chris.
This guy, he gets it. David Fafita, the Fifi darling. It was a short-lived return to the starting side with Beau Fermor owners on the other end of that. He thankfully goes back. Geez, you don't want Beau Fermor.
Yeah, boy, howdy.
Just nowhere near the pill.
On that.
Nowhere near the pill. So that was a bit of a rough one for owners, but he's back there. Cleese Haas, I think I did the poop emoji multiple times in some chats. Not sure what he's doing to keep this starting squad, but it's... Simo, can you unpack this mystery? Because I'm missing why he should be starting in the NRL.
No, I've got nothing more to add other than what we've said pretty much ever since week 2 when he proceeded to be shit like he has been all season. Like,
he stinks.
I get it. Look, Fafita had to get fitness under his belt, but it's beyond a joke now. Look, in saying that, watching Fafita on the weekend, he couldn't last the 80, so he's clearly not fit enough yet. But the fact that that spot is still Cleese Haas's and not any other random guy is beyond me. So, yeah, it's not so much me saying it has to be Fafita's. It just can't be Cleese Haas. It's just that bad.
Agreed, mate. Now, to those who got on Chris Randall as a one-week play, Sam Verrills is back. It ended up just being the concussion, because I did hear something about a hip for Verrills, but he is back, which is good to see. Chris Randall slotting in at 13. You want to call tackle bot in Tino's absence. So if you've already had him, would you hang on for one more week as a 2RF or a hooker, Todd Mount?
Yeah, I think so. He gets through his work at lock.
Just didn't as much at 9. Was a bit disappointing. Got spelled for the young fella. So, yeah, I'm with you. Young Sean Mullaney, who just wanted to barge over and score himself about 5 times in a row. It's good to watch. All right. That's really it. Shout out to Mo Fott for captaincy this week, but Tino is a massive out. I think the Dragons, I'm going to green light some Dragons there. I think this could go very well, and I wouldn't want to be versing Gutho. Over to the Bronx versus Roosters. This has some spice on it, given how poorly the Roosters performed earlier in the season. Don't understand the scheduling in the NRL in any way, shape, or form. It's just confusing.
Don't get me started, eh? Like, I mean, how is it fair that some teams get to play the Roosters without Sam Walker twice?
It's crazy.
Before others have even played them once. Like,
it's
just not a fair. Yeah.
And we send the draw away to Europe to get it done with some shit, or Canada or something. We send someone outside of Australia does the draw for the NRL.
Just if you were going to say about. Well, Todd, I'm glad you didn't say America in there, mate, because they're struggling to organise things at the moment.
Up those guys.
We've got a question from the beautifully named Pudgy Pigeon. Groot out for Billy Smith. I'll just throw it to the boys. Todd Matt?
I don't love Billy Smith's rest of season value either. I would, because I'm not a big fan of the Groot. So, yeah, for this week, 1 week play, 100%.
Sim?
I'd keep, crazy to say it, but I'd keep De Groot.
I would too.
Billy Smith will be up against Katoni, so I wouldn't want to play Smith this week. So I would assume that Smith will lose his spot the week after. I'm just assuming. He might not, but it's hard because, look, if Smith had any more than 1 week in my mind, I'd say him, because De Groot's really nothing, but as we answer it right now, I'll say De Groot on a technicality.
Well, talking about the potential spot in the side, those crazy rumours on X that Dom Young would be the one to make way. How the winger gets scapegoated for that, I understand he's not been at his best.
He's been shit, though.
He still scored 5 tries in 5 games. Like, I don't know. I think
you also let that peach of a pass from Latrell Mitchell. I mean, where is he going there? That was bad, dude.
It's probably not his best work, but I don't know about you. I tend not to blame wingers for the failings of the middles and the inability to defend.
Yeah. Certainly not going great in the middle.
That's just me. That's just me.
Yeah, see, Dom Young is going to do that. Like, for every one of those, there's an intercept where he runs 80 and scores. Like, he's going to do. Yeah, that's right. You got to take the good with the bad with Dominic Young. If you're going to pick him, then be okay with that. I don't begrudge him for playing the way he plays.
I think it was also a pretty freakish ball that some of the analysis saying that was a forward pass is just bonkers.
Oh, that's crazy.
I can't even. I've heard some of the supposed experts come out and say that that's just not a forward pass. So,
yeah.
All right. That means, finally, boys, Chatty Townsend versus Jack Cogger. They're both out this week, so the league has improved. Chad Townsend, it is a miracle he lasted that many rounds, let's be real. That is some of the worst football you'll see. Some of those kickouts on the full and stuff he was doing is just something I've not really seen, other than Lockie Ilias. I've not seen it too often. No confidence, didn't appear to give a shit. I know, and I'm not saying he clearly is trying, don't get me wrong, but he's kicking out in the full and he's just like, oh, Chad, I'm a big kick it out in the full guy, and then run back. It was bizarre.
Oh, shit.
Hugo Savala comes in. I thought you might like that, Todd Brown. Hugo Savala comes in. I just like seeing the injection of youth here. Frame me a market, Simo. Is there anything to get excited about here, given his I guess, reserve grade in junior footy?
So he's a massive unit, Hugo. Obviously, like the fact that he's got the 2RF duel is also pretty handy, I guess, from a SuperCoach point of view. I feel like the classic version of the game has really done us a bit of a solid there to give him the old duel. But anyway, we won't digress onto that. But just in terms of his playing style, like he's one of those big, rangy halves. Will get through a lot of work, given his body shape. He'll probably get you a solid 20 tackles, or 15 to 20 tackles, which will be pretty good.
Nice.
Can kick goals as well, so we'll see what happens there. But I would imagine that Sandon will probably keep that gig for now. But yeah, he's a decent enough shout. Yeah, I think if you need your halfback, you could justify a low end waiver. But yeah, if the Chooks come out and get pasted this week, you just don't know how he'll last.
Fair play, mate. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think he obviously needs to be owned on the chance. Keep in mind as well that the Roosters' buy coverage is elite. It's as good as it gets for non-origin players. Todd's Nawanga Nitawase probably comes in, given that he's 18. That's the risk of the Dom Young drop, which may well happen this week. It's just hard, mate. Like Toya to keep his position likely. It's kind of scary stuff. Yeah, I would too, but if it is, I think there's a chance here, boys. If Dom Young does, in fact, get dropped this week, just a very sneaky early little shout as a buy low, I'd be all over it like you wouldn't believe. I think that is a very realistic chance. So I thought I'd just bring it up.
I don't mind the buy low if he gets dropped this week, but he would need Billy Smith or Robert Toy to go back, because I don't think Nawanga Nitawase is ever going to give up his spot. He's too much talent. I think he's fantastic. Way too much talent.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And he's very SuperCoach friendly, Todd. Like he really looks for that late offload and the sort of tackle bust. So I'm a big fan. So with Victor Radley back in there, I have to mention Nat Butcher. I know we've probably spoken about him too much, but we've actually got a third position to think about now. So we've talked about we love him on an edge. He's playing front row. Like that's a grindy position where he can grind out 40 plus tackles and probably be okay. He may well be out there in leagues. With Lindsay Collin out for 6 weeks, and let's be real, boys, he's not running too great at this stage of his career. It's not looked pretty. Where I'm not the only one who's seen. I love Lindsay Collins, don't get me wrong, but is it fair to say his guaranteed origin spot, Simo, it had to be in question this year?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Obviously, I think injury is probably going to answer that, at least for Origin 1. But, yeah, look, he was barely playing for the Roosters in the starting side, let alone Queensland. So, yeah, it would have been a bit rough to see him get picked for Queensland. But then again, he's been there and done it before. But in terms of club footy, he's been a bit of a placeholder for a while.
Yeah, Gilbert back and Horsburgh off the bench if he can keep playing well. I know Horsburgh's prone to an error or two, but if he, I just thought that's what it looked very obvious to me. So I was just checking in. So with that injury though, they haven't got a lot of forwards here, boys. And Spencer Leniu has proven he's not going to be the starting guy with the big minutes that some of us hoped might have developed for him. Nat Butcher could be a thing. And in 6 weeks' time, round 12 is the next round of the updates. If he gets FRF2, I think you want to own him when that happens.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm not going to disagree with you too much. I think you should. I'm probably not. He's just not someone that I get overly excited about, Nat Butcher, because we've just. I don't know. We talk about him a lot on the pod.
I know.
Every time we talk about him means there's an equal time where he's been dropped or something's got awry, where he's been injured or
played terribly.
Which means we've been off him for certain reasons as well. So, yeah, I get what you're saying, but yeah, it's not someone that I'm like, geez, I must go and get Nat Butcher now for round 12 when he gets front row. Like I think he'll just be very meat and potatoes, probably a solid 50 in this sort of rotation. So,
fair play. All right.
What's worth.
On to the Sharks versus Seagulls. Sharks back to their, if you want to call it meat and potatoes, their standard side with Teague being a big in. Braden Trindle continues to struggle. Him and Kennedy are just not it. We've talked about this plenty, so I won't waste listeners' time. Also think they could really do with another middle beside Fanua Blake, because Oregon Kafusi, he ain't it. So they're maybe not as much of a premiership threat as we thought. Hiroti did really well last week. He's in there again. With Iro out, I think it's worth mentioning, lads, that he actually did look pretty good as a centre. He is still very fast, boys. I guess speed translates to any position, it would seem. Probably not a horrendous matchup either against a very poor defensive Seagulls side away from home. You can absolutely pick up and play Hiroti this week. Any disagreement? For CT dub, not saying it's like the sexiest pick ever, but
no, it's not the sexiest, but I don't mind it as a fourth. I feel like there might be better options, but
that better option could be the much maligned until recently Tolo Kula. Okay, in a losing side, let's just have our best game of our career potentially and look like the best center that's ever played. Could you be more frustrated? Okay, listeners, I've got to know if any of you, and for those that watch later in the comments, please let us know if you somehow started Tolo Kula in anything approaching a 10-team league. For those who are in 16 and 20 teamers, well done on your victory on the week, thanks to just that man. 130 something, he was ridiculous. And he looked good. Like, this wasn't just all the ball fell to him. It did, and he made stuff happen. What, is this the turn of a corner? I want to frame me an argument, Todd, because I'm confused.
I can't, mate. I've been on him for the last 5 bloody years. He's done absolutely diddly squat. I can't get behind it.
I thought of you.
Sick of it.
I thought of you monstrously. As he crossed for the third, I was like, what's Todd's feeling right now?
Brother, I mean, just have all the talent in the world and never use it, you knob.
Ever.
That pisses me off, eh? Also, by the way, did you know Manly play the Sharks in round 6 and then round 10? Go scheduling.
Just disgusting.
Just get it up.
It makes no sense. But anyway, it is what it is.
Holy.
But, look. Okay, you're probably the worst. I wanted to go to you first, Todd, but I don't blame you for essentially just freezing this one because I don't know what you're supposed to recommend either. Simon, frame me a market that he at least has to be owned just in case.
I'm not even going to go there. I'm just going to say it's an absolute mirage.
A complete
mirage. Yep. Like this week against Ramian, this has just got massive crash back down to earth.
Shut down.
That
17.
massive spike and then back to I'm not falling for this. I'm happy to be wrong on it, but I'm not wasting a waiver on Tolo Kula. No way.
I'm trying to frame. So if you're a Kiraz owner, you're about to get very excited because he looked absolutely just out of this world again with about 3 million offloads. Jesus. Just trying to think of a CTW that people would be relying on this week. I mean, there's a lot of injuries. I want to say just have him owned. That's it. I'm not going any further. Just own, because we've seen this before, but I think you boys are almost certainly right. So we'll check in. The Tolo Kula segment will continue, and we'll watch that one closely.
Don't check in with me.
Clayton Alolo.
We know.
Yes.
No, last thing I'll say, we know he's a good player. We talk about him all the time because he's so frustrating because we know he's a good player in there, but it just never shows. And then the one time it finally shows, we can't just be all up and about him and just jump back on board. I think we need to just, cool our jets a bit and just go look until.
I think we cooled. Those jets are well and truly doused. That was Dodds said no, I can't go there. You said flat couldn't go there. I've literally said free agent pickup at best. Just own him. We're not going any further than that, listeners. That's cool.
Oh, yeah, no waivers. No waivers.
No waivers. There'll be potties out there, mate, saying, get on, Cooler. That's our boy. Well, we aren't that podcast because we are the best draft experts and we won't get fooled 25 times by the same man. Piss off, Tolo Cooler. Although, well played, sir. Very
Tolo Cooler.
Gutho's going to fool you boys plenty, but I'll let you just chill on that one. You can chill on that one for a while. I'll let you boys bring that one up when the time is right. Lehigh, Hopewadi, looking pretty good. Jason Saab, really surprised to see him there, boys, to be honest, because I just thought Clayton Falolo would be a bit of a lock. Just want to give him special mention for the coolest Harbour Bridge 30-meter bullet over his head pass I've ever seen. That, I don't know how he thought to do this thing that just landed on a dime. Incredible. Incredible play. Fantastic. All right. Just reading a couple from Cal. We'll come back. Meso, thank you for tuning in as always. Is this because they targeted Leo out there in his NRL debut? I think absolutely they targeted the bejesus out of him. So, again, as Simo said, Jesse Rami, and good luck just running through him all day. No chance. Also gave Brooks some of his very rare upside too. Yep.
You should know on this podcast we don't talk about Brooks, mate.
Well, you can talk about him in that regard with Brooksy absolutely struggling to lay a hand. He struggles. He's having a struggle of the season. All right.
Season? So he's been the last 10 playing for the Tigers, mate. What are you on about? He's got about 12 wooden spoons.
I just want to mention here that we had a plus 50 performance from your man Burbo. Simo, Burbo Watch is officially on, mate. Really good times.
Look at him go. Look at him go.
and my man Ethan Bullymore's finally slowed down on the try scoring. So yeah, not much to see there. All right. We'll move forward to the poor South Sydney Rabbitohs, as we said earlier, who've just lost everyone to some sort of injury all at once. Absolutely decimated, but it does give Big Trell a chance to make you boys look a bit better versus Gutho by moving into the 6. This should work. Like, I'm excited to see this. He should be on the ball enough. There should be a couple of try assists forthcoming, I would like to think. And obviously, he's going to maintain the goal kicking. It's going to last for at least, 2 to 3 weeks. Cody Walker gone for 2 to 3. Humphreys 4 to 5, I think I saw. Are we excited about this, Todd Mount?
I mean, if you're a Latrell Mitchell owner, I don't think you're very excited. I don't really love him in the front line, to be perfectly honest. I don't know if
but you liked him at centre.
I didn't love him at centre. I prefer him at fullback. I definitely think you would prefer Latrell Mitchell at fullback. He's going to get his hands on the ball a lot more here. He'd be pretty creative, but I don't know. I don't think that 6 is his position. I think he's going to go pretty average.
For next year, Cal, if he plays enough there, mate, and he gets fullback 5'8", and they don't play the round 26 bye for like they haven't twice in the last 3 years, yeah, I could see Trell moving up very high in draft boards come next season. Not interested in him this year, though. All right, so that means Alex Johnson returns. Delighted that he didn't fracture his shoulder like it looked like initially, as you reported. Simo, so he's back. Ewan Aitken back in the centres is one we do have to talk about. Ewan Aitken has always sort of found his way to some SuperCoach relevance because he's just kind of busy, does enough tackle busts, the odd offload, that sort of stuff. Simo, we prefer him to be playing in the back row, and I still have to believe that Jairo is not meant for the back row rotation. I've got no interest in it. He's a waiver claim on the basis of where we think he'll end up, yeah?
Yeah, he's definitely someone you look at a lot differently than where he is named this week. Because you have to sort of view him as like longest or rest of season, probably right to RF would be where Arrow's been playing. So I'm hoping they push Arrow into the middle somewhere. Just to sort of, I think it's better for everyone. It's better for obviously the half inside Aitken in that scenario. It's good for Arrow. I think he's a better middle, to be quite perfectly honest.
Yeah.
As it pertains to Aitken, like I think he's someone that if you can pick him up in your league off of waivers because people are sort of a bit off him, thinking he's going to play centre, I reckon you just pounce on that because if he gets to RF, which could be as early as next week, you're going to want to own him. So jump on.
Yeah, so with a lot of the juicy options this week, I don't know if he's your number one overall, but I think you could make an argument with a guy who's, I think for the Finns when he was playing full time in the back row, he was averaging 60 plus and actually was quite a good asset. So he is a fairly high claim this week, I think is pretty straightforward. Bud Sullivan did have a decent game last week. If you are someone who's relying on either Jack Cole, Burton, Walker, any of those guys that are struggling, Bud's dual, Todzer, I'd have to think.
Yeah, he's dual half 5'8", yeah.
This could work okay. I don't want to break the bank because it's not a long-term season thing, but if you need to get by, you're probably going to have to pony up a low-end waiver, right?
Yeah, not the worst shout, mate, especially coming up against the Cowboys who have found some form recently, but again, I'm still quite pessimistic about that. Yeah, I don't mind Jaden Sullivan. Got the dual there too, so covers a couple of different holes.
Really quickly, Alex Johnson, he's with Latrell there. Maybe he does get his line break tries. Could be a dart throw in a pretty juicy matchup against the Cowboys, but I wouldn't, again, break the bank. Just bring him in as he could be a 4th, 5th CTW option.
How do you boys see Trell going at 6?
Much better than center. Way better potential for try assist than center. I like that he's on the ball. I think he doesn't really create many, floor stats playing fullback anyway. So I don't think it's that much different, to be honest.
Fair.
Yeah, look, there's no doubt that we'd rather him at fullback. That's goes without saying. But comparing it to last week when he was playing centre, like you'd much rather him with the ball in his hands, getting the chance to run, offload, force dropouts, try assists off kicks. I think he'll just create a lot more with the ball in his hands. Rather, when he was at centre, he was relying on too many people. As soon as Cody Walker went out of the game, it was a smart thing by Bant to put him at 5'8", but I think initially in the second half they didn't put him in there straight away, and it was pretty clear it didn't work. And then when he put him in there, obviously things turned around. So yeah, I'd much rather him at 5'8" than centre, and let's just hope that fullback's not far away in his near future.
Jago keeps racking up all these Dally M points. It's going to be the Dally M runaway Dally M leader, which I don't agree with, by the way. I think this Jai Gray is the best thing since sliced bread. I love his effort, but he's not that impactful as a player. You said it before, Simo. Can we just ease off on the hype train for a guy that runs hard and is brave for his size? He's not creating match-winning plays or tries almost at all. So that sounds a bit of a dousing the flame for him, but I think I'm with you boys. But you know what I mean? Like, tell me I'm wrong. Like him leading the Dally M, he's the best player in our game at the moment. What a load of crap that is. Let's be real.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. And calling him, this is going to sound bad because of their stature, but he's very similar to Matt Duffy in the way that they play.
Yeah,
like that effort, speed.
Yep.
Obviously, little guy, nippy. But they're individual players. Those sorts of guys. They don't have the passing game yet to create for those around them. But on pure stats and for their stature and what they do for the team, as voters, and as just general Aussie public, we love those sorts of players because we love to root for an underdog and a little guy. So, they tick all those boxes. But yeah, to say he's the best player in the game,
yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's like the same thing. People love the tall poppy syndrome. They love to bang, to bash we love to bang him too, to be fair. Good looking dude. Ponga. If he has even remotely a bad game, it's and they downplay his brilliance. Or Latrell's amazing match winning pass. Oh, that's forward. Oh, he's just trash. He did nothing the rest of the game. And little Jai Gray just running hard, not really winning the game for his side, just keeping him in it. I know which side of that I sit on. I'm always about the stars and the flair, but fair play. All right. The Porn Hubner, your boy Todd Mount, did finally hit some upside and looked busy, and I think he might just be shading that minute battle with Tallis Duncan just a little bit more. Can you frame an argument that he's sort of looking as a third 2RF from here?
I can get behind him, mate. He's done enough. He's just been a tackle bot in the middle, got a few offloads going now too. I actually like it. I think Tallis Duncan's been good coming through the middle too. But I was just Hubner's really, I like the cut of his jib. He just works hard.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, he's got a little bit more than meat and potatoes as well. He's just got that little bit. He showed it on the weekend to get to a 60 odd. If he's going to give you a 40 with the odd little punch, as a third 2RF, I'm not saying hardcore seller or anything, but he should be owned and can be started as a third. I think that's okay. Simo, do you disagree?
I know, that try assist he got, honestly, you could drive a truck through it. That defense on the line was just the worst you'll see. And we're probably Totola scored the try. That was just an absolute gift.
Yeah,
he needs to be owned, but he's not a waiver for me.
Agreed.
I'm happy to have him on the bench and see what he amounts to, but I think he is just a 45 to 50 player.
I don't think you realise how desperate some sides are in the 2RF, Simo. Redford at the moment. So those sort of can they get me 40 base to 50 with the little upside moment could get the job done. But fair play.
Ben Travojevic, Redford, pick him up, mate.
Burbo, hello, baby. Yeah, I'll just go vomit up a little bit. Sorry, listeners. Welcome to those who've just joined as well. A question very relevant. One of our regulars. G'day, Dom. Totola, second FRF potential. You know I'm going to get around it. Totola, my darling, from what seems to be yonks ago. Look, he looked a bit better. Still not for me if you feel like you need the stash. At FRF2, a lot of us are just taking crack shots, really, just to see if one of them can stick. I guess he's as good as any because he used to be a talent. It just his injuries have felled him some. So I wouldn't get too hype about it, mate. All right. Good to have Dom back on board, lads. G'day, Dom. Over to the Cowboys squad. So Robert Derby has maintained his spot. So there was some talk that Billy Burns might be sneaking his way back in. I noticed he's not on the extended bench. These bunnies are gettable, lads, I have to think. Looking a bit better. Murray Talangi I wanted to bring him up because I think he'll be out there in a decent amount of leagues. Has started to find form. Lincoln with Drinky. I'm okay with him as a 4 CTW, and if he's out there, I think a low-end waiver is fine. And I think the matchup's pretty decent too. Any disagreement?
No disagreements. Plays Gold Coast, then the Warriors, so it's not a bad wee run from Muzza.
Not a bad one. And what does that one say there, Toddmeow?
Says, thanks, Potty. Love the toddy. On your Dom. It's good banter by you, Dom. Mate. Keep that up.
Dom. All right. The rest of the side, Jake Clifford came torpedoing back to earth, as I think everyone who owns him knew was coming. We just wanted to not believe. I'm really not feeling. God, some of us have to, mate. Some of us have to. There's not a lot going here. Anything? Ruben Cotter back?
No. Even then, Ruben Cotter hasn't been great.
No, he has not. Is he even waiverable?
It's just Drinky and the rest, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, tell you what, Jackson Purdue, boys, here's one of the quicker guys off the mark you'll see. I think he is 4 CTW startable in this matchup for sure.
Yeah, no thanks.
Not at all, based on what he's done the last couple of weeks. I think he looks good.
Yeah, I think he's a locked in number 3 or 4. I roll the good with the bad with Purdue.
Speaking of the bad, poor Jeremiah Nane, mixed feelings with the win last week for the Cowboys means he'll just have to sit and watch what's in front of him still somehow. Awesome work from. There were a few emotes shared around Johnny Bateman on the weekend there, Simo, as he gave away about 3 or 4 penalties back to back and whinged about every one of them. They were all the easiest. The refs was like, mate,
come on, Johnny.
Johnny.
Yeah.
We've seen this. He's fast become close to my least favorite player. It's very close.
It's not hard. It's not hard. That headgear he's sporting isn't the greatest of the time.
It isn't. And the way
reminds me of Reed Marnie,
I love a piss take as much as the next person, but it's just not good.
It's a bit much. It is a bit much. And the fact he's ousted Nane, an actual talent, to the bench is crazy to me. Oh, this Dursto character, we don't wish for injuries at all. We don't joke about it. That's poor form from the Dursto. We'll have him. Moderators, can we have this guy banned, please? That is poor. All right.
It's like Dursto's team's got half the team got their hammy done. It's shit scores.
There's some PTSD for poor Dursto, I think. Moving on to the celebratory Eels.
I'll just chime in and say here, boys. It's pretty big coming from Dursto, considering he won a matchup of Kale Lero's hammy going.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dursto. Have at it, honestly. Okay, jumping into the Eels versus the Raiders. Good to see Yongi get a bit of space and show what he could do. So for truthers out there who hung on, he really did look the goods. Zach Lomax to the wing will be absolutely, that has gone brilliantly for owners. If you bought him on the cheap while he was playing centre, that is a massive moment for you. He just got a much improved base, even though he ran 30 odd times from centre a couple of weeks ago. Centre.
He's been unreal from centre.
Centre.
Yeah,
he's let's be
second
real.
fullback spot.
Let's be real. He's actually playing. This week it'll be 5 and 7. Really similar to not as many positions as Gutho, but he's doing the similar thing. So yeah, Dylan Brown sighting was good. I believe I saw a Riley Smith question here, which I think is a pretty straightforward one for mine. Meso, g'day. Questions for later. Hold Riley Smith and Wade Egan. Is Smith a must-hold in a 14-team league? All the hookers are fit. It's become quite a deep position. Now, 14-teamer, Simo, that's starting to get... That's pretty deep. I've got a feeling you hold Riley to see if the role develops, even though we know 80 minutes is not going to happen for a really good while.
Yeah, the fact that he's already got Egan means that Smith is obviously surplus to his requirements. So I'd be very interested to know from Meso who he would be dropping Smith for. Because I could see a lot of scenarios where you could drop Smith. I'm not going to sit here and say that he's a must-hold. But without any other context, I'll say that, yeah, in a vacuum, yes, hold him, see what happens. But if you come back and say that there's someone massive that you want to target off the wire, then there are people out there I'll drop them for in this situation.
Yeah, Blaze, your Blaze to Lungies of this week for sure. I have no problem with that, given you've said it's quite deep as well. And Egan, I'll just throw out there, Mesa, unfortunately, this is the opposite of the ill will that Dursto wished upon a player. Egan does have a very poor injury record, particularly in-game injury concussion risk as well. So I thinking he'll play his first ever full season. Probably not great. But I tell you what, while he's getting 80 minutes, he's a must-start. I know that I got it wrong slightly with the Coruscant a few weeks ago, but I tell you what, Coro's a hard start, for example. Grant's a tough start. All of them are tough starts. It's been brutal. So Egan's a shining light. Good stuff. So that's it for, apart from Katoga, if I got that, I don't think I'm pronouncing that right.
I think it's Katonga.
So Katonga he didn't quite play 80 minutes, played like 78 for some reason on the weekend. Not quite sure. He might have come off late or something. With that role pretty much locked in, we've already said probably worth a stash and own. If he was still out there, would you sneak a waiver claim in Todd Mount?
Oh, mid to low, probably.
Yep.
It's probably where I would go.
With your TRF Redford, I would for sure.
Yeah, go hard for sure. With Tino out this week, unfortunately, we'll have to do it. Jermaine Hopgood, tale of woe to start the season. It has been well unders. Hell of a lot of unders here. Even, Simo, you messaged me with dismay, rightfully, that the man has had to come on and play hooker, essentially, which is just insane. Is there a buy low here to be had somewhere, or is this just one of those lost seasons for Jermaine Hopgood?
Oh, look, as an owner of him in a couple of leagues, he's very gettable. You could buy him low off a lot of people, I'm sure of it. That it was a tough watch on the weekend. The fact that he started the game playing 9 was just one of the biggest WTF moments I've seen this year. To then go off and not come back on until the second half was just as an owner, and I know there's a few people out on X that were voicing their opinions as well, as classic owners and things like that. So, yeah, if you own him in draft, you're in a tough spot at the moment because his minutes have just gone down. He got 72 in week 1. He's had 60 odd week 2. Last couple of weeks he's been hitting sort of mid 50s. So
brutal.
Every week he's sort of been going the wrong way. So yeah, hopefully I'd love to say it can't go any worse, but tell you what, Jason Rolls is finding a way to make it worse every week. So I'm not going to sit here and make any bold statements on Jermaine.
Mate, with Moses back, not due back to at least round 9, I do think there's a red hot chance that ball playing and offloading that he possesses will come into its own with the 6 and 7 established with Yongi back there. I like the future. Jesus, going to be some pain until you get there. And then it's like, does Moses really come back then? And what role does he have under Ross? So it's, he's one I didn't mind grabbing in the listener league as well, Simo, but there are some alarm bells ringing there for sure. And he is technically a buy low because it can't get a hell of a lot worse.
I mean, he's still pumped out of 48, so it's not like it's not panic stations like panic, but for what you spent, what you spent to get him on draft day, like you drafted him at a spot where you're not happy with 48s. You're looking at 60s, 60 plus, and just not quite there at the moment.
Over to the Raiders. Not a lot to report here other than early season darling Starling. So he did it in the reverse of previous seasons where he's just run home. The Owen Paddy factor is absolutely crushing his chances at the moment. Minutes have dropped all the way down into the 50s. You're going to keep starting him, but you're probably not going to be able to sell high or move on at the moment. He's not looking as promising as he was. Matty Nicholson, I just want to quickly ask the boys, literally Pudgy Pigeon, get out of my brain, old son. I was about to ask this exact question. The Pudgy Pigeon wants to know, thoughts on Hosking rest of season outlook with Matty making his claim. There is no shot in the world Matty Nicholson gets dropped, except it's Ricky Stewart, boys. So let's just wait and see. No, I actually think even this is Ricky proof. He's just a really good football player. You have to think Horsburgh jumps into the front row rotation then, and it is going to be his Hosking at 13 is the thought, because I don't think Hosking, because he looked good before he got injured playing that 13 role. That's how I see it. Simo?
Yep, I think I'd be surprised if it was anything but that, to be fair. It's basically the same thing, but Hosking could start off the bench in a few games, come on and play 60 straight off the bench. Because Ricky seems to prefer random games where he lets Horsburgh start or Papali start. Sometimes Smithy starts and one of them drops back to the bench. Like, I could see weird rotations like that, but I think generally speaking, Hosking will probably play 13 whenever he's on. Horsburgh will still play very big minutes, playing front row, same as Tarpany. Yeah, Nicholson, I think, is just going to keep that edge and be pretty happy with it.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Pudgy Pigeon. Get out of my head, old son. That's a good question. The rest of it is pretty staple. It's only the really quick question. Are you going to greenlight Xavier Savage to hit some upside this week? Yay or nay? Just a quick yes or no, please, Todd, man.
Yeah, against the Eels, yeah. Why not?
Simo?
Yep. He'll do something.
He'll do something as a fourth with upside. All right, that's all from that game. Moving on to the Storm versus Warriors 2 p.m. Sunday game. I did enjoy that, mate. Up the wires. I did enjoy that last of the Sunday evening games. I really like that time slot on a Sunday. That's good fun.
6:05, do you?
Oh, yeah. You're on an island there.
You're about the only person, hey.
Relaxing.
Match starts at 7. What the heck? No, I'm joking.
I bet you. There is every chance you watch maths. Of all my mates I know, you'd be a maths guy.
No, I just watch because the missus watches it, mate.
Yeah, watch the miss. I watch TV. I'll watch that new season of Dexter is what's been getting around lately. Holy dooly, that stunk. Wow. Anyway, not here to review TV. However, just don't watch that Dexter. It's awful. Storm squad this week. Pappen scared everyone. Came off with sore glutes, so awesome for those owners. Grant Anderson, we love him on a wing. We've said this before. It's a recipe for success. When he plays in the centres, it's obviously a bit lukewarm. So he's gone out there and absolutely brained it. And obviously he's going to have to be started this week because he's against the Warriors as well. They're not exactly a formidable unit.
Holy.
At home too, like load up.
I think it's a load up. So you're probably going to have to pony up. If he would have been unowned in many a league, I would say. Originally named in the centres with Wishart on a wing. I don't know. Like, you're going to secure him. He's probably going to give you some upside this week. Just say easy, low-end claim if you're needy, right? Just stick with that.
Solid.
Yep. All right.
Moses Leo. Last week, That would have been crazy.
It would have been so easy to do.
He would have won plenty of matchups last week.
He really would have. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I dropped him so I could pick up Cody Walker, which was good fun. Lovely. That. Yeah.
Jesus. Funny people try to tell you not to pick up Cody Walker, mate.
I have no problem. look, the Jack Cole versus Cody Walker debate ended up just getting solved for us. Neither of them were a good option, so we kind of got
You
stuck.
probably knew that from the start, to be honest.
I thought Cody.
Yeah.
I didn't hate what I saw in the first half, and then just obviously lost it. But anyway, here's what it is. We'll never know for sure. The rest of it, the one player I wanted to mention here from the Storm is an interesting trend for Trent Liero. He's not a player we normally talk about too much. His minutes have been creeping up. Now, in games, it's one of those ones that's kind of hard to judge. Is it just a result of, injuries and rotations? Probably, but they happen a lot in games now. And he's been creeping up close to that, like high 60s. It's not a hard sell. Just he's an okay third tier F. If he's going to get near 70 minutes, that's not a horrible spot to be. Simo, you look like you're somewhat lukewarm on this idea.
Yeah, I picked him up and started him in one league last week because, I saw what you have seen there, like pretty decent enough minutes. Unfortunately, with Liero, we've seen this pretty much every year in his career that he starts all right and then it just fizzles out. There'll be games where, like Wishart played, I think, like sub 20 minutes this week.
He did.
There'll be games where
something,
really weird. Like he was playing 40-odd minutes earlier on in the season, so. Yeah, if that's a trend and Wishart's going to drop back to seriously as just a bench role and nothing else, then that's good for Liero. If they decide to play Wishart as a pseudo lock or something, obviously Liero is going to lose a bit of minutes in that sort of situation. So as we sit here right now, you got to take what you've seen and think that Liero is going to look all right for a solid sort of 60 minutes. Should score you about 55 points based on what he's done the last couple of weeks. So. Yeah, Don't hate the shout, but it's not like a massive sell because there is risk there.
Absolutely. I think, mate, the absence of Nas again, who's still sidelined with a concussion, Nas would be the red light for me if he was on the bench just to take up some of his minutes, I think, as a bit of an impact role. So, all right, moving down to up the wires. Big in Rocco Berry, mate. You love to see it. Rocco Berry comes in there with a good defensive game. He's got a good defensive game. Doesn't do a hell of a lot else. You don't sound too enthused here, Todd Brown. There's really nothing from a waiver wire perspective other than, I'm going to say it, our boy Aaron Clark without Dylan Walker. Is he a thing now? He might be.
I don't know. I think Jackson Ford's going to come in and take minutes. You got those 4 forward bench. I don't know. I don't think Aaron Clark's a thing.
Okay. Probably not. Just it does make it a slightly clearer path for those lock minutes with Dylan Walker not to guarantee sub him essentially for half a game. And he did trend a little bit. I would not hate to just see how that goes as an FRF2 myself. All right. That's all there is for that. The last game of the round. Defend the castle. And boy, did we give it a red hot crack before literally losing our entire bench. That was brutal. Absolutely brutal. Proud Knights fan, though, here. I know we've got a question in the chat straight away from our man, Meso. So, Meso, you have said, as a cranky soon-to-be former Jacob Saifidi owner, that is where fantasy can really just come up and give you the old whack up the date. Is Matt Croker a decent shout at FRF2 this week, or am I just seeing things?
You, my friend, are seeing things.
I can't get around it.
I can't get around a FRF from the bench. If you're starting, they can't get around it now.
No. Speaking of can't, Thomas has maintained his spot. There was some nerves that he was going to go into the centres again with Gagai to the wing. So Kyle McCarthy comes in. Simo, is there anything about this lad that we should be excited about?
McCarthy or Cant?
Cant, fantastic for the Cant owner. We know he's already owned. We probably get, from what I've heard from the superstar that is Dylan Lucas, still probably a couple of weeks away, definitely at least a week. So keep riding that gravy train. McCarthy, mate, is there anything there?
I believe he played a game for you guys last year. I think he debuted. Don't hold me to that, but I feel like he might have had one crack before. But yeah, obviously, I don't know too much about him, to be honest, but I think he's got a bit of try scoring about him in the New South Wales Cup. So, Schiller's had games where he's looked really good there, albeit few and far between. Like you said, a couple of good games, a couple of stinkers. So if you're really desperate for a CTW4, you could go there. It's not a bad matchup for KP to possibly do some things and set up a few tries. So, yeah, if you're desperate, have a crack, but you have to be pretty deep league, I'd imagine.
Kyle McCarthy started last year against the Sharks in round 24. Against the Sharks at the Sharks Park. Based 43, scored 63.
Good from you, Scoop. There we go. Get around it.
Toddy all over it.
Yep.
I thought Leo Thompson put in a great shift defensively with extra minutes for those who think he could be Supercoach something, but not a lot in attack. So again, it's nothing to get super excited about, as we said on the potty last week. Kai, but I should add to that as well, probably the beneficiary of all that Meso would be Leo Thompson, with only Brodie Jones there in that bench. I think Leo Thompson's got he proved he can play big minutes. So I think he's at least a solid enough FRF2 for this period of time.
Good shout that.
Yes. Kai, Pierce, Paul, your man, Todd. Paul Pierce, as you call him.
Yes, good bloke.
Come on, mate. Stay fit. Don't get suspended. Add that offload, because we badly need second phase ball or something to bring our better players in. I want to still be a believer, mate. So if he was out there, because there might be shallower leagues where he was dropped, I want to get around it, mate. I want to say he'd be waiverable, because there's still so much potential there, Supercoach-wise, right?
Yeah, I'm not spending up like 5 onwards, but if you're looking to pick up a 2RF that does have, we saw before he had his little stint this year that he was getting that offload going and it opened up Fletcher Sharp and likes.
Yeah.
So didn't mind what he was doing before he had his wee time off. So yeah, I don't mind it, mate, as a low end waiver claim if you're 2RF needy or have your team.
Good shout, mate. There's a question coming here from Captain Rivalry. I'm just going to say yes as fast as I can say it. If Siwa Wong is still out there in a league of yours, congratulations on your victory, Rivalry, because by watching this potty, you will be the expert in that league and you will have already been winning. And yes, you go out and you spend it. Definitely. The kid's a beast. He's outstanding.
Oh, Pudgy. Nice.
Wong or Cant for the next 3 weeks, in terms of starting. Bit of a coin flip for me. They're pretty damn close. So, do you want to quickly give us one, Simo? Not too deep.
Yeah, flip a coin, honestly. I'll say Kent this week. I think against the Broncos, I think it's a bit harder for Siwa Wong. So I'll say Kent this week, but I mean, I haven't looked at the matchups going forward, so it could easily be Wong the week after. But if you're not sure who to go this week, I'd lean Kent just. But yeah, Wong's really clearly got him rest of season.
You can't go Wong. Exactly, Dursto. You can't go Wong. Yep. Low-hanging fruit. Love your work tonight, Dursto. Yep, we're still going. Excellent. Very good. Yep, hang on. Missed one. Sorry, Cal. Beautiful. Thank you. Our listeners are onto it. They're absolutely having fun. Okay, so moving down to the Tigers. A big in with Supercoach implications is Gerald Skelton. I cannot imagine he was dropped in leagues. I certainly hope he wasn't. If he's out there, he becomes the number one claim for me easily, so I'm just going to put him in that category. Like, he's got a phenomenal base on him. He wouldn't have been dropped. He would have been parked, so let's not get too excited there. Jerome Luai is back with the iffy shoulder. Geez, he's tough to... If you were the Jerome Luai owner here, boys, you're going. You put your claim in for Talangi if Luai's your 5/8, right?
Yeah, I assume so.
Yeah. Luai's not an absolute guaranteed top 10 start rest of season, is he? The way he's been, with Galvin being the one with all the Supercoach output. Yeah.
He'll have games, Luai, but yeah, it's going to be hard to predict when they're going to come. They'll probably be the weeks he's on your bench. So
scored 54 against Newcastle in round 1, boys.
Hello. Yeah, with the shoulder injury, I cannot imagine he's dipping into the line too much this week. I think he's going to be let Lockie Galvin do the running. I would try really hard not to start Jerome Luai this week, boys. The mystery of Appy Coruscant, lads. I think he ended up sort of playing half a bit with the injuries, which just absolutely crushed him last week. He had it was an odd rotation. They had injuries going down everywhere. He was doing like a pseudo playmaker role and just dumping it off. He's been weird. He's been up and down. He's looked good when he's been in the hooker. Talon De Silva's taken minutes. He'd be a really easy buy low if you wanted just to get him on the extreme cheap for owners. Toddy, is it a worthy buy low?
Oh, we've seen Uppy being crazy good last year. The minutes that Talon de Silva takes is a bit worrying. There's times where Talon comes on and plays 25 minutes, and that's just too much for Uppy. And it's not like Uppy has ever been that guy that's gone, into a lock role and got through work there either. Plus, with that, Jerome and Lockie Galvin, Uppy's the first one to go out to the halves too. So I think there is a buy low opportunity for Uppy Coruscant, but I just don't think he's going to return you what you're wanting from last year.
Probably not. I just think it's just how bad Hooker is. He's almost a guy to take a punt on. If you're sitting on someone that's just absolutely stinking it up, he isn't going to cost you much. I just think it's worth it. The goal kicking still hasn't been fully decided, evidently. You saw Talon, when Cora was going off, Talon was kicking when Dewey had gone down. Then when Dewey and Cora were both out there, Cora kicked a couple. It's very confusing at the moment. If you traded for him, listeners, at least there's a chance he does return somewhere near at least his average you'd expect any goal kicks. You probably won that trade. Just putting it out there. Pole let us down a bit. I really did think it might have been his time to shine. That's a shame. Samuela Fainu, boys, he will be out there in every league because we told everyone to drop him. He's back already. I thought he was off for leg surgery. I just want to not look at his name anymore.
Just leave him on the wire. I don't think he needs to be owned at this point.
Yeah. I'm not about it. All right. A huge boost, apparently, with him to come back. Well, good luck to you, Samuela.
Well, mate, you know as much as I do, Redford. He was not getting involved when he was fully fit. So what's he going to do when he's not fit? So
There's a universe, Simo, where he came into the season underdone. The leg got worse and he struggled. That's the narrative. I'm okay with him being a free agent because he stole my heart when he came through at first. He burst through and looked bloody good, but you are probably more right, Simo. Fair enough. All right, lads, we've got through the lists. There is a lot. I think it's probably important for listeners we do just a tiny little recap here because there actually is a decent amount of options this week. Blaze Talungi, I'm happy to go hard. If you're in Captain Rivalries League, Siwa Wong will be a number one claim, so fantastic. Absolutely love it. Other options up there that we had as the absolute guarantee. So jump in and save me, boys, if you can here as well. I think we said you definitely want to own your Young Roosters half as well, just on the case that is the lottery win for you also.
Katonga from
Katonga needs to be owned. Absolutely, he does. Kai Pearce-Paul, I think, will be out there in a healthy number of leagues. I'm happy with a pretty decent claim there as well.
Murray Taulagi.
And Murray Taulagi, that's a good one, Todza. That's another one in there. All right, I think they're the main ones for this week. There's just been a lot of value changes. Geez, Maxi Plath, well done to you owners. That's gone spectacularly. All right, are there any questions out there on the socials, gentlemen?
I've got a couple. I think we've already answered one. It was about Hopgood. The other one is from Adam on X.
Get Adam.
He just wants us to confirm that he's got the priority order right for his CT dubs.
Yep.
So he's got 5 names here.
Oh, shit, here we go.
He's currently got it Skelton, Phil Sami, Grant Anderson, Jackson Purdue, and Stafford Toa. Would you agree with that ranking?
Skelton won with a bullet. It's not even close. I've probably got... I don't mind a bit of Toa as well for his role in that team, Todza. I don't have Anderson as high and I don't have Sammy as high. I think I probably go Skelton, Purdue, Toa. Anderson, Sammy is just splitting out. Sammy potentially slightly longer back on the wing. Anderson short-term love. Anderson's higher short-term, longer-term no. Skelton easy. Todd?
Yeah, I think that read now that I'm a little bit off on Purdue, so I'd have him above. I would have it Skelton, Anderson. Name them again. Skelton, Anderson,
Toa.
Purdue and Toa.
Purdue, then Sammy.
Yep.
But yeah.
Good options. Like honestly, any
Yeah.
of them, even in the short term versus long, there's a lot. That's a really good list. Thanks for the question, Alex. That's a ripper, mate. Good luck. Cal
His name's
has
Adam,
got one.
but anyway. Yep.
Adam, good on you, Adam. Alex, we've got listeners of all different names. Simo. Good save, mate.
G'day,
Well done.
Alex.
G'day, Alex. Cal has said, and sit one of the returning to former Sarko. You can't sit Sharp. Jenkins, matchup pretty juicy, and Skelton. Jesus, he's got some options here, boys. I'm going to say a Sarko. I like the other three.
Yeah, I'm sitting Asako against Panthers.
Tough after he's come off 100 on many people's
Couldn't
benches.
care less.
Yeah. I'm going to sit Skelton.
It's the night.
That's a good list. That's a good list. Like
First week back from injury is the only thing.
maybe,
So,
Simo,
playing it
maybe.
safe.
And the Panthers, the reason I really hesitated there is like Panthers under normal circumstances, yeah, but I reckon their defense is not that flash and it is Dolphins at home. So, yeah, okay. That's close.
Yeah, you can't make a wrong decision. Well, you will, but as we see here,
you will. Good problem
Yeah.
to have, says Cal. But I'm sure I'll choose wrong. Yeah, you probably will, mate. We're sorry. Todd, give him another option, mate. So just to confuse him more. Just as long as you start. Watch Sharp be the worst scorer of that four at home.
Hey, I don't want to hear any of that.
APP. Oh, mate, no, you run really bad so far, Todd. Jeez, I wouldn't want anything to happen.
Oh, don't talk about running good, mate. Holy.
Hey, I said you haven't run bad, honestly. All right.
Any more questions?
There was one more question. I think there was. He said two.
Oh, the other one we answered. It was about Hopgood, so we covered it.
And who was it from, Simo? Is that Alex?
Alex, yep. We'll go with Alex. No, it was good Twitter handle this. Eggs11.
Eggs11, yes, baby. Welcome.
Yeah, nice.
Absolutely battling the pudgy pigeon for the name of the week. That's good gear from our listeners.
Pigeon.
Good on you.
I can't stop thinking of Glenn McGrath on the pies, eh? Pudgy pigeon.
Cal is just awesome.
Can't picture it.
G'day, eggs. G'day, eggs. All right. Quality. All right, the Book of Face. Let's keep this professional.
Yes, mate. We just got the one here from Conrad.
Connie. G'day, Connie.
Yep, thank you.
G'day, Con.
Wonderful. He says, which one of Seyfarth, Blore, and Bateman would you drop? Already have Huddy Young and Catchman as 2RF. Bateman, Redford, Seyfarth, Blore, Bateman. Seyfarth.
Blore's, he doesn't.
Blore's so meh, hey.
It's Blore. It's Blore out of those three. Yeah. I hate it because talent minutes aren't. Yuck, that made me feel. Don't ask those questions. Thanks.
Yeah, that's the only one we had from Facebook. I did notice we missed one in the chat there, mate. If you wanted to go back to
yes.
Pigeon. Yeah, he said.
The Pudge? The Pudge has come in hot? I did, mate. My apologies around the dogs. A bye-week question to the Pudgy Pigeon. That's why they pay the big bucks, Todd. Go get your laundry done, son. Wanting to jump off Bailey with the bye and Burton coming back. Help me pick one of Leo Thompson, Zach Hosking, or to Katunga in a 14-man. Hosking, Katunga, Leo in that order for me.
Yeah, same order. Yeah.
Hosking at 13 is very interesting. Like, if he can stay fit, I really think the offloads and the ball playing is there. It's a question of minutes. That really quick one, because I'd love to know that. How many minutes? I'll give you an under-over. 65 minutes Hosking. When back to fully fit?
Under?
Yeah. I'd say under.
Under.
With Tarpany and Horsburgh there, all three of them are not going to play.
Okay.
Like, one of them has to lose, put it that way. And I think, I would imagine that Hosking might lose a little bit. So, it'll be high 50s, but I don't think it'll be 65.
Okay. Built-in upside on the man, probably better he's running holes on the edge, which he also does very well. Just stay fit, Hosking. He's a very good footballer. All right. that's it from the Book of Face. Thank you, Todd Mount. Any concluding comments from you, mate? You brought the sexies tonight, as always. Look at you.
Me? No, nothing more from me, mate. Just happy to have footy back. The Wars are back. We'll get tailed up by Melbourne by 40, so that'll be fun. But apart from that, mate, I'm looking forward for the weekend.
That's very good, mate. Nice sedate finish from you. Yeah, okay. Simon, how are you, mate? Are you happy with this tonight? You've done some good things.
Yeah, mate. No, it's good. It's nice when there's guys on the waivers to talk about. Even though we get to the end, we don't write them down. We forget who they are. But
listeners, will do better. That's a continuous improvement initiative for you. We're going to start writing those down. If only you had a better host, though. Honestly,
mate. Honestly, I can't throw stones at you, mate. Like, my memory's so shit. Like, we talked about these guys literally 20 minutes ago, and I got nothing. I can't help.
They're old news, and you probably, mate. It's like all of us when we're not sitting high enough on a waiver, we actually kind of think about what our own going to be. Like our listeners, we are guilty of that. We're thinking of League of the Record. It's just all the time.
Oh yeah.
Katuga, come into my team, baby. Here we go.
Where are you, Redford? On the list?
I got no shot.
You're second last. You two are second last and last. Get that up, yeah.
I will bottom feed the scrubs that everyone doesn't want, just to make sure I get my Leo Thompson's 59 last week.
No, look, I'll happily be last, Todd Mountain, because wavering Blaze last week, dropping Kenny, I was like, I was very happy with that, and it's worked out well. So I'll happily be last.
You actually showing the Supercoach gods do actually care about Chisimo after bending over a barrel for most of this season. That's good to see.
Yeah, we'll see. It's a long season, boys. It's a long season.
It is. All right.
It will be a long season for me.
Yes. Mate, you and me both, old son. All right. Okay, listeners, it has been a pleasure bringing it to you tonight. Thank you for the brilliant questions in the chat. Cal is just coming in hot. Thanks again for your work, draft experts. Look at that, even giving us our title. That's good from you, Cal.
There you go. Yeah, that's BDE.
That's BDE right there. All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Listeners, hope you have some good success and get kissed on the tip, as Mr. Todd often does. And as always, listeners, get that BDE into you.